It starts with the best of intentions. A salad instead of sandwich. A veggie stir-fry instead of pasta. Maybe even a green smoothie in the morning. But then comes the confusion. Despite all these healthy changes, the energy still crashes mid-afternoon. Blood pressure stays high. Digestion gets sluggish. The knees still ache every morning. Here's what most people over 60 don't realize. Some vegetables can quietly work against your health goals, even while you think they're helping. This isn't about fad diets or complicated food rules. This is about making smarter, more senior-friendly vegetable choices, because at this stage in life, the right food doesn't just nourish. It protects. What really happens inside the body after 60? As we age, the body becomes more sensitive to what we put into it. That's just biology. Here's what's really going on behind the scenes. Digestion slows down. The digestive system becomes less efficient. It takes longer to break down certain fibers and compounds. Gas, bloating, and discomfort become more common, even with healthy foods. Blood sugar regulation weakens. The pancreas doesn't produce insulin as efficiently. Some vegetables, especially starchy or high glycemic ones, can cause dangerous spikes. The immune system responds differently. Inflammation, once a helpful short-term response, can become chronic. Certain vegetables might actually trigger joint pain and stiffness. Nutrient absorption becomes a challenge. Some compounds in vegetables, like oxalates or phytates, can block the absorption of crucial minerals like calcium, magnesium, or iron, minerals older adults desperately need. Medications interact with food. Common prescriptions for blood pressure, cholesterol, or arthritis can react poorly with vegetables that are high in vitamin K or other active compounds. Vegetables still remain essential. They support the heart, reduce inflammation, and strengthen bones. But it's not just about eating more vegetables. It's about choosing the right ones. Some vegetables contain compounds that can spike blood sugar, trigger joint inflammation, interfere with medications, disrupt digestion, block mineral absorption. And that's the kind of impact you can't afford to ignore after 60. The 4 worst vegetables for seniors. 1. Canned corn, a sweet but dangerous staple. There was a time when Margaret, a retired schoolteacher in her late 70s, found comfort in the familiar. One of those little comforts was a warm serving of canned corn with her evening meal. It reminded her of simpler days when convenience meant something wholesome. But what she didn't realize was that behind the sweetness of that golden corn lay hidden dangers, especially for someone her age. You see, canned corn is not just corn. It often comes packed with excessive sodium and added sugars, masked under the guise of natural flavor. For seniors, those hidden ingredients can be silently harmful. Margaret began noticing unusual spikes in her blood sugar, even though she wasn't consuming desserts. Her doctor later explained, corn has a high glycemic index, and when combined with added sugar, it can act almost like candy to the bloodstream. What's more, the tough, insoluble fibers in canned corn were starting to upset her stomach. She felt bloated, uncomfortable, and began avoiding meals altogether. But that wasn't the end of it. Her ankles began to swell. Blood pressure readings climbed higher. The culprit? Excess sodium, quietly accumulating with every serving. And hidden within the can itself was yet another concern: preservatives and BPA linings, substances known to interfere with hormonal balance over time. When Margaret finally swapped out her canned corn for gently steamed green beans and sweet carrots, the difference was immediate. Her energy felt more even, her digestion less troublesome, and her blood pressure easier to manage. It was a small change, but for her, it was a new beginning, a quiet victory against the invisible burdens aging can bring. 2. Raw cruciferous vegetables, not always a superfood. Harold, a former mechanic who prided himself on doing things the healthy way, began adding raw kale, broccoli, and cauliflower to his daily salads. He had read that cruciferous vegetables were superfoods, packed with nutrients. But after a few months, he couldn't ignore the signs anymore. He felt tired more often, and even simple tasks became exhausting. Cold seemed to cling to his bones. and his mind often felt foggy, as if he was walking through a mist. His wife noticed he was more bloated after meals, and his appetite had dropped. What Harold didn't know was that these raw vegetables, while nutritious, also contain goitrogens, natural compounds that can interfere with the thyroid, especially when consumed raw and in excess. For seniors like Harold, the effects can be more pronounced. A slowed metabolism, making every day feel heavier. Cold sensitivity, even in mild weather. Brain fog and fatigue, impacting memory and alertness. Digestive issues, from fibers that are harder to break down with age. The turning point came when his daughter suggested something simple. Cook the vegetables. Just a light steam or roast was all it took to neutralize most of the goitrogens. After making that switch, Harold felt like himself again. His energy returned, and mealtimes were no longer a source of discomfort. More importantly, his body responded with quiet gratitude, a testament to how the right choices can bring peace back to everyday life. 3. Eggplant, a nightshade with inflammatory effects. As time goes on, the body changes in ways that aren't always visible, but certainly felt, especially in the joints. For many seniors, mornings can begin with a familiar stiffness in the knees or a dull ache in the fingers. These aren't just signs of age. Sometimes they're responses to what's on the plate. Eggplant, while a staple in many kitchens, holds a hidden challenge. It's part of the nightshade family, which contains a naturally occurring chemical called solanine. In people with sensitivities, solanine can act as a trigger for inflammation. What does this mean for an aging body? Stiff joints that resist movement, swelling in areas like the knees and fingers, an intensifying of existing arthritis symptoms. For those already living with joint pain, these subtle food-based triggers can quietly worsen discomfort, making daily tasks harder and diminishing quality of life. The challenge is that eggplant may not seem harmful at first glance. It's a vegetable, after all, but for those sensitive to nightshades, it can make a noticeable difference. The good news? There are practical ways to reduce its impact. Peeling the skin before cooking can help, since solanine is most concentrated in the outer layer. Limiting the quantity of eggplant in meals can prevent the buildup of inflammatory compounds. For some, avoiding nightshades entirely, including tomatoes, peppers, and potatoes, may lead to a clearer sense of relief. Taking control of diet in this way is not about restriction, but about restoring ease to movement and offering the body a bit more comfort in the everyday. 4. Raw spinach, a nutrient trap. Spinach often earns praise as a superfood, and for good reason. It's packed with nutrients. But for older adults, especially those managing specific health conditions, raw spinach can bring complications that are often overlooked. Beneath its green leaves lies a nutritional puzzle. Raw spinach contains oxalates, which bind to important minerals like calcium and iron, making them harder for the body to absorb. For seniors, who often already face challenges like bone density loss or anemia, this can quietly worsen the very conditions they're trying to manage. Moreover, spinach is rich in vitamin K1, a compound that can interfere with blood-thinning medications. This is a critical concern for those with cardiovascular issues who rely on such medications to reduce the risk of stroke or clotting. The hidden effects of consuming large amounts of raw spinach may include reduced calcium absorption, which can contribute to osteoporosis, inhibited iron intake, potentially leading to fatigue or weakness, disruption of blood thinner effectiveness, raising cardiovascular risks. But there's a simple, effective solution: cooking. When spinach is lightly cooked, steamed, or sautéed, it releases many of the oxalates and reduces the vitamin K content. This not only enhances mineral absorption, but makes the leafy green safer and more beneficial for seniors. In the end, it's not about avoiding spinach altogether, but about preparing it in a way that supports health rather than complicating it. A small shift in the kitchen can mean a big difference in long-term well-being. The 4 best vegetables for seniors. 1. Beet naturel circulation booster. In the quiet rhythm of aging, The body often speaks in whispers, slower steps, cooler hands, a heart that occasionally beats to its own uncertain tempo. For many older adults, circulation becomes a daily concern. Blood doesn't move as freely as it once did, and with it, oxygen and warmth can seem to fade from fingertips and toes. This is where nature offers a quiet ally, the humble beet. Beets are more than just a root vegetable. They hold within them the power of natural nitrates, compounds that the body converts into nitric oxide, a molecule that gently relaxes blood vessels, lowers blood pressure, and encourages smoother blood flow. For a heart that's grown tired with time, and arteries that no longer pulse with the same vigor, this natural boost can mean more energy, more clarity, and more ease in the body. But the benefits don't end there. Beets bring anti-inflammatory compounds that help reduce silent discomfort in joints and tissues, support for brain function, nurturing memory and focus, digestive regularity, thanks to their rich fiber content, helping maintain comfort in the belly, gentle detoxification, supporting the liver as it filters the wear and tear of years past, roasted until tender, steamed to softness, or blended into a warm soup. Beets are more than nourishment. They're support for a heart that's worked hard and a mind that still seeks clarity. 2. Bok choy, the bone-strengthening green. As the years pass, bones that once carried burdens without hesitation may start to falter. A small stumble becomes a greater risk, and strength once taken for granted turns fragile. In these quiet changes, food must become a partner in preservation. And among the leafy greens, bok choy stands as a gentle but powerful support. Unlike other greens high in oxalates, bok choy allows its calcium and magnesium to be fully absorbed, offering real reinforcement to aging bones. It doesn't just promise support, it delivers it. This modest vegetable also carries vitamin K, known for its role in bone integrity and heart protection. Vitamin C, strengthening the immune system, especially in seasons when illness quietly lingers in the air. A tender texture, easy on digestion that may no longer tolerate harsher fibers. Steamed softly or stir-fried with care. Bok choy is not a trend. It is tradition. It's comfort. It's a way to maintain the frame of the body, to keep standing tall, walking steady, and facing the day with less fear of falling. 3. Green peas, the fiber-rich stabilizer. As the years pass, the body changes, not just in the way it looks, but in how it feels and functions. One of the most pressing issues many seniors face is unstable blood sugar, fatigue after meals, sluggish digestion, and an increasing struggle with regularity. These challenges may feel small at first, but can grow into daily obstacles that interfere with quality of life. That's where green peas step in, not as a trendy food or a passing health fad, but as a simple, accessible ally. Packed with soluble fiber, green peas work gently within the digestive system to slow down digestion, giving the body more time to absorb nutrients and maintain steady blood sugar levels. This translates to fewer sharp energy drops and better control over blood sugar, especially important for those managing prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. In addition, green peas support healthy bowel movements, reducing the need for over-the-counter solutions and making daily life more comfortable. But perhaps one of their most underestimated benefits lies in their plant-based protein content. As we age, the risk of muscle loss, sarcopenia, becomes more serious, and protein becomes crucial in maintaining strength and independence. What makes green peas especially valuable is how easy they are to use. They can be added to soups, side dishes, or folded into a morning omelet. No complicated prep, no exotic ingredients. Just honest, natural support in every bite. 4. Swiss chard, the detoxifying immune defender. With age comes wisdom, but also a greater vulnerability to inflammation, fatigue, declining immunity, and vision problems. These aren't simply passing inconveniences. They can affect mobility, clarity of thought, and overall well-being. The body's ability to detoxify, protect itself, and bounce back from illness begins to slow, and it becomes more important than ever to nourish it with foods that gently support its natural defenses. Swiss chard is one of those foods. It doesn't shout for attention, but it quietly delivers powerful benefits to the aging body. Rich in betalains, it helps support liver function and reduce inflammation, two key elements in keeping the body resilient and comfortable in later years. Swiss chard also offers lutein and zeaxanthin, nutrients that the eyes depend on to stay strong and focused, helping slow the effects of age-related vision decline. It doesn't stop there. Swiss chard contains vitamin C, iron, and magnesium, a trio that supports energy production, helps strengthen the immune system, and may even ease the fatigue that many seniors battle each day. Perhaps most importantly, Swiss chard is gentle. It's a leafy green that's easy to cook and mild in flavor, making it a smart, non-disruptive addition to a senior's diet. Whether sautéed lightly with garlic or added to a warm bowl of soup, it provides support without complication, a quiet protector for the body's most vital systems. For many, reaching the age of 60 brings not just wisdom, but also a few unexpected changes in the body. Joints grow stiffer, digestion slows down, the heart beats a little differently, and sometimes, memory takes just a bit longer to catch up. These shifts aren't signs of weakness, they're signs of a life well lived. But they also call for small acts of care, especially at the dinner table. Eating well after 60 doesn't mean tossing aside the meals you've always loved. It doesn't mean strict diets or bland, joyless plates. It means thoughtful, simple changes, the kind that protect the parts of the body that need it most: your joints, your heart, your digestion, and your brain. Imagine swapping out canned corn, which is high in sugar and salt, for a side of gently steamed peas, soft and sweet in their own right. Picture replacing tough raw kale with a warm serving of sautéed bok choy, easy on the stomach and kind to aging teeth. Try adding roasted beets to your dinner just twice a week, an earthy, tender touch that brings support to the heart and blood vessels. Or choosing cooked spinach over raw in your salad, easier to absorb, gentler to digest, and still rich with nutrients. These changes may seem minor, almost invisible, but over time they build up. They turn into easier mornings with fewer aches, into steadier energy that doesn't crash by mid-afternoon, into the quiet joy of walking, bending, stretching, without pain holding you back. They're small shifts, but they carry big benefits. The road to better health after 60 is not paved with restriction. It is not about eating less, suffering more, or chasing impossible standards. It is about eating smarter. It begins with learning, understanding which vegetables truly support the aging body and which may quietly get in the way. With this knowledge comes control. Control over how you feel when you wake up, how much energy you have in the afternoon, and how confident you feel moving through your day. Eating consciously becomes a quiet act of strength, because the right food choices aren't just about nutrients. They're about clarity in the mind, strength in the bones, stability in your steps, protection for your heart, and peace for your stomach. All of this begins with awareness. Then comes the action, the swapping, the choosing, the slight shifts on the plate. And soon after comes freedom, the freedom to move without discomfort, to remember more clearly, to live each day with less worry, more ease, and a sense of renewed confidence in your body. When you eat with intention, every bite becomes a quiet investment in a better, stronger, longer life.